This is Dave, and today's big hairy idea is when in doubt, say yes. So I'm a little bit embarrassed to be filming this video in my pajamas, but the truth is I just got back from hours and hours and hours of matzah baking and had to throw myself right into the shower and didn't had to throw all of my clothes, which totally smell like smoke, right into the laundry. So I'm in my PJs getting ready for bed, but of course had to film for the day. So wanted to make sure I did that. Now I filmed recently about matzah baking, so you might be wondering why I'm filming again about matzah baking. And the reason is we did a second type of matzah baking that is very different from the one we did last time. So we had learned this way to make matzah in the backyard over a fire many years ago when we lived in the Golan Heights. And Hannah loved this. Hannah loved this way of baking matzah. And I actually really love the baking matzah with the guys who I used to learn in yeshiva with, and we've been baking matzah for well over a decade, and it's just an incredible vibe, and I love that whole environment. But there's something about getting your hands very dirty and building the fire and doing it very kind of old school. The way we make matzah with the yeshiva is very much inside a matzah factory, and everyone has their jobs, and it's very much kind of conveyor belt type thing, and it's incredible energy, but it's very, very strict in all of the steps that we're taking. And people didn't used to make matzah that way. They used to make it in their homes, and they used to make it in a very casual way of doing it. And this is the way that we learned to do it in the Golan, and that Hannah was really excited to do it. One, because she felt so connected to it, but two, because we don't really eat wheat so much in our family, and she doesn't like to eat wheat, and we were able to get spelt, but we couldn't bring the spelt into our matzah baking group that we had before because it messes with the factory process where everything is laid out so precisely, and when you change the flour, you change the whole measurements, and it messes everything up. So we weren't able to bring spelt there, and Hannah wanted to do the spelt. And I kept coming home over the past few weeks as Hannah was looking into arranging these things. I came home one day, she's like, I got really good news. And I said, yeah? What's that? She's like, I found a guy who's going to get us the flour. I finally reached him. He said yes. And I'm like, oh. Because truthfully, I was not all that excited to be doing the backyard matzah thing. I remember from our time in the Golan, one year we did it with friends, and it was really cool to go over their house and see how they did it. We were there just for a little while helping out. For the next year, we arranged it. We did it ourselves. And I just remember, literally, when I think about baking matzah outside this way, what came back to me was the feeling of burning eyes. Because when I did this 5 years ago in the Golan, I sat by working the fire the entire time and to get all this smoke in my eyes. And that's what I associated with this whole thing with. It was just the feeling of my eyes burning, and I was not the least bit excited. And I kept bumming Hannah out. She'd come with so much excitement. I rarely ever see her as lit up as she's been when she was talking about preparing for this backyard matzah making. And I felt bad that I'd be kind of like, ugh. And I kept kind of hoping that it would fall through and that we wouldn't have to do it, because I love breaking with all the guys I've been baking with for a decade, and I wasn't looking forward to doing this at all. But it just became so clear this was so important to her. This was so important to her. She's so excited by this. And I had a moment before I went out there today, and I just said to myself, I just took a moment to kind of go inside and say, okay, Hannah is so excited about this. Make sure that you go there with everything you've got. Positive energy, positive attitude. Do whatever you can to make this day a success. Because this isn't about you and what you'd prefer. And you'd prefer to sit around on your lazy butt and do nothing. But you're going to go out there and build a fire and bake matzahs. And I wound up actually doing the kneading job because I'm the bread baker in the house. And people were kneading, and it wasn't going as well. I took one turn kneading the bread, and I was like, okay, you're kneading from now on. You do this so much better than we do. So I was the kneader, and my back's like killing me from kneading all of this dough. It's incredibly dry, brittle dough that we make from the matzah. It takes a lot of energy to be kneading it. But the whole time it's like, okay, I'm out here as positive as I could possibly be. This is for Hannah. Do this For Hana, once I got out there, I had a great time. We totally enjoyed it. We had all these friends come over. All these kids come over, want to participate. The kids were so much more excited than the adults. We had more kids than we had adults, and they were all baking this together, and it was really a fantastic experience. I didn't have to work the fire because I no longer have a young son. I've got an old son who's 14 who loves playing with fire, so he took care of the fire. And everything worked out really great. And it just kind of reminds me of something that I had said many years ago to myself that I have not done the greatest job of following through with, which is that when in doubt, say yes. I remember thinking that with my son. I remember saying that with parenting early on. And again, we haven't actually followed through with this, but like when in doubt, if we're not sure, say yes. It doesn't mean you say yes to everything that's coming your way. You know, R11, when Hannah was gone a week ago, R11, I did pizza movie night, wound up watching the movie Yes Man, with this guy who takes a vow. He's got to say yes, only say yes, only say yes, all the time. And crazy things happen in his life, of course, because it's Hollywood. But it doesn't mean you have to say yes to things that are against your values, things you don't believe in. But if there are things that are just, okay, I might rather not, I'd kind of prefer not, okay. And especially if it means something to someone you love, to somebody important, if this you saying yes is really going to encourage somebody else, is really going to bring someone else tremendous joy, then get off that lazy butt and say yes and make it happen and bring positive energy as much as you possibly can. And it's absolute. When I kept to it, I found it absolutely transformational in my life, and I hope you do as well. Take care.